In winter, I made a comparison that sparked quite a lot of discussion. Team Associated TC4 versus TC8. Almost 20 years of development separate these two cars. And on our indoor track, the result was pretty clear. I was significantly faster with the TC8. So, case closed. Or maybe not? Because after that video, many of you pointed out one important thing, and you were absolutely right: the weight. The TC4 was significantly heavier than the modern TC8, and that raised an obvious question. How much of the difference was really down to the chassis? How much difference do almost 20 years of technical development actually make? And how much of the advantage simply came from the TC8 being lighter? That question has stayed in my mind ever since. So we're doing the comparison again. But this time there are no excuses. Same weight, same motor, same battery, same body. And this time we're not racing indoors on carpet, we're going outside onto asphalt. Two generations of Team Associated, two completely different concepts, but this time under conditions that are as equal as I can possibly make them. TC4 versus TC8, old versus new. Almost 20 years of RC touring car development going head to head. And this time I really want to know, is the modern TC8 actually the faster car? Or can the old TC4, once we eliminate the weight advantage, suddenly get much closer than any of us expected? I drove both cars, on the same track, under the same conditions. And I can already tell you this: the result is more interesting than I expected. So let's find out what almost 20 years of RC touring car development really gives you on the track. Team Associated TC4 versus TC8, the ultimate outdoor test. Let's go. To make the comparison really fair this time, I loaded the TC8 up with additional weights, and it's actually now 2 grams heavier than the TC4. We're starting things off nice and easy with a 21.5 T motor and a 5.0 gear ratio. Setting up and preparing both cars took almost 2 hours, but I can already tell you, it was worth it. For the comparison, I'm always taking the 3 fastest consecutive laps from each stint and calculating the average. The TC8 goes first, 28.8, 29.0, 28.9 seconds. That gives us an average lap time of 28.9 seconds. And now the TC4. 29.3, 29.3, 29.2 seconds. That's an average of just under 29.3 seconds. So the TC8 is around 0.4 of a second faster per lap and takes the lead in our first comparison, 1-0 to the TC8. But this was only the beginning. Now we move on to the 17.5 T motor. By the way, I was running a Bitty Design Eptron body, and funnily enough it fits the old TC4 without any problems. But it doesn't fit my TC6. Sometimes you just don't have to understand the logic of RC cars. This time the TC4 goes first. 27.7, 27.6, 27.7 seconds. Extremely consistent. But is it enough to beat the TC8? Let's look at the times. 27.3, 27.3, 27.3 seconds. It doesn't get much more consistent than that. And once again, we have almost exactly the same gap as we had with the 21.5 T motor, around 0.4 of a second per lap. To be honest, I expected the difference to be a little bigger with the 17.5 T. But still, this round also goes to the TC8. So the final score is 2-0 for the TC8. But why is the TC8 faster, even though both cars now have practically the same weight? For me, it's not one single thing. It's the complete package. The more modern geometry, the significantly lower center of gravity, and the more efficient drivetrain all play a role. The belt drivetrain of the TC8, for example, runs more freely than the shaft-driven system of the TC4. So almost 20 years of development don't simply disappear just because we equalize the weight. I could have added the TC6 to this comparison as well. If the body had fitted, I might actually have done it. But to be honest, all of these cars are great fun to drive. And I think it's impressive to see just how much performance the old TC4 still has. That's also the most important takeaway from this test for me. I wanted to show that the weight difference doesn't make as much of a difference as many people thought after my first comparison. And I'll take an even closer look at that topic in one of my upcoming videos. Because there's one thing we should never forget with comparisons like this. A good driver with a TC4 can easily beat a less experienced driver with a TC8. But if both drivers are at a similar level and the components are comparable, things start to look different. That's when the advantages of the modern car become noticeable. But that doesn't make the TC4 a bad car. In fact, I think it makes the TC4 even more attractive. So never let anyone tell you that you need the latest chassis to have fun or to be fast on the track. I hope you enjoyed this comparison and that we finally answered the question raised by the first video. What do you think about the result? Did you expect a bigger difference? Let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching, have fun on the track, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep racing!